I just saw on the internet, over the last weeks that like one of the animal activist groups back home have said that have risen up and said that the farmers are to blame for the drought back home.
Yeah.
And my personal belief is I don't really personally believe that because, I'm not going to say we don't contribute because yes, we run cattle on the land, which they do consume grass,
sure,
obviously.
Yeah.
But you can't plan for a drought.
Yeah.
And another thing I'd like to say too is
let me just answer that question first. So you said your belief is that it's not because of animal agriculture. We don't go by whether this is our belief or not, we go by science and facts. So I don't know if you've heard of a website called cowspiracy.com. It's based on a documentary. Okay, so that is a wonderful documentary that I recommend you check out, and that's based on science. And what they're finding is that animal agriculture is a leading cause of environmental destruction. This isn't just something that the vegan activist group that you're referring to kind of plucked out to blame farmers. This is scientists who are telling us this.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, what you're saying is correct, I guess. Back in the 80s and the 70s, they didn't have that technology, so people just ran cattle till the ground was like this kind of thing. And now, we're realising that, that is sort of affecting to the reef runoff and things like that. So, we're trying to better, say by only grazing, 50% of the grass, so then that way there's still ground cover. So and a lot of producers, there are some, don't get me wrong, there are some that I think should not be in the industry because they just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But I just like to say, from my point, me and my family, we care for our cattle. We'd go broke for our cattle. We do love our cattle, even though we use them for meat. We do love our cattle.
So I'll ask you this question, mate. How do you love your cattle when you send them to the slaughterhouse to be killed?
Well,
it must be difficult on that day for you.
Well, I don't really think like that, I guess, because at the end of the day, it is a business, and
So you're treating the animals as a commodity, it's, as you said, it's a business about making money, but do you agree that there may be an individual in this equation here that you're not really considering? The animals are individuals, aren't they?
Well, yeah, they are, they're all animals, we're animals as well.
Yeah, we are, exactly. So we wouldn't like to trade humans like slavery, right? And yet we're doing that to these other sentient beings when it's not really needed because there are other things that we can farm and other ways to live and make business and make money. Have you heard of farmers who are choosing to leave the animal agriculture industry and switch over to more, plant-based crops and do other things with their land?
Not where I am, no.
It is an option, though.
It is, but I can't see myself doing it.
What would hold you back?
Because I like farming cattle. It's what I love doing,
Okay, you love sending innocent beings to slaughter?
That's part of it.
Well, that's the crux of it, but the question is, do you love sending innocent beings to slaughter? Do you want to do that? Or if you had the choice to do something else, would you choose to do something else?
Well, no, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't? You would rather keep running the environment into the ground and sending innocent beings to slaughter? That's your preference?
But we're not trying to run the environment.
You're not trying to, but that's the result. That's what's happening, unfortunately.
We are trying to figure out ways to rehabilitate the environment while doing what we're doing, if you know what I mean.
So you're trying to do a better job at something that's damaging the planet. Why don't we just choose to do something that's helping the planet, not killing animals, helping people?
Well, yeah. Okay.
If you had the choice, why wouldn't you choose the kinder option?
Then, if we did stop farming, the whole world.
Well, you're not stopping farming. You're just changing what you're farming. Yeah.
And we let them all run free and whatever. Then natural selection's going to take over.
Yeah, so first of all, unfortunately, the whole world's not going to go vegan overnight. So it's not like we're going to be left with all these billions of animals on our hands. It's going to be a gradual process. So those animals, they're not going to be let free in the wild. They're going to be rehomed in sanctuaries. They need to be taken care of. Now we breed, you would know, we breed these animals into existence into the numbers that we currently have, but they naturally don't breed so much. So eventually we will have more normal numbers. Here's a great idea actually, we came across this the other day. We've noticed that some farmers are transforming their farms into sanctuaries and then building some accommodation, so it's like an Airbnb. So people come and stay, it's something authentic to be in the outback, there are beautiful animals that people can interact with. So that's a business idea where you get to still love and take care of animals and, you know, make money from people wanting to come and have that experience.
Yeah, but like once the animal grows old,
Yeah.
like then what do you guys do with it? Do you just let it die a natural death, or do you?
Yeah, I mean, if
humanely?
well, no, if the animal's not sick or injured and there's no reason to put them down, then yeah, they just die of their own causes, natural causes. We're talking about the majority that go to the slaughterhouse to be shot in the head and have their throat slit. So if we don't need to do that and we can find a way of making money through another line of business, why wouldn't we make that choice?
I don't know, like I'd never really prepared myself for this conversation, I must say.
Yeah, I understand that.
But like,
It's something to think about though, isn't it?
yeah, I don't know if I could do it though. Like,
Why not? What would hold you back though?
just, I don't know.
Okay, my question is, do you like sending animals to slaughter? That day when you have to drive them off to the slaughterhouse, do you enjoy that?
Like a friend of mine had a girlfriend once who was vegetarian, and she asked me the same question. She's like, do you get sad? And my friend, he's like, babe, just, you know, they don't really care, rah, rah, rah. And I said, whoa, buddy, whoa. I said, look, you know, we do care about our cows because it's our income.
Yeah, so you care about the cows because it's your income, but you don't care about the cows as individuals because, you know, they have a right to life. If you cared about them, then you would choose not to send them to slaughterhouse, and you can change over your business to something else.
I do care about the cattle. I like, you know, but I don't know. It's hard to think, I guess, of a way to say it. I don't know. Like, shit, I'm trying to think.
I understand what you're saying. You're also you're conditioned to doing this as your job, so it's part of every day. You go and drop it. Well, it's not in your blood, but I understand there's a history, there's a family history there. I get that, but you know, just because we've done something for a long time doesn't mean we have to continue doing it if there's another way, right?
I do agree, but
So maybe we're in a position right now where we might have to start thinking of doing things in another way, considering the environment is suffering severely, as you've seen. It's not pleasant to take animals to slaughter. If you appreciate them, you like them, you said you love them, why would we want to slit their throats if we don't need to?
and one other thing too.
Yeah.
So when I was at home, there were a few protests like at the meatworks and abattoirs in Brisbane and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you know, fair enough. You know. But like, one of the things I didn't quite agree with was the protest was when like, you know, they stopped the trucks and, you know, everyone went up with their cameras.
Yeah.
Like that actually frightens the cattle quite a bit because it's like a big, you know, like.
Do you think what goes on in the slaughterhouse frightens them a little bit more than some cameras?
To be honest, I don't really think they know. Like,
Oh, mate, have you actually seen the footage? Have you? First of all, have you gone into a slaughterhouse and watched?
I've been through a sort of.
And you've watched them go through the shoot and slit, and you don't think they know? You don't think they struggle to get out?
But like, cattle.
Bovine can actually smell blood it's about 8 k's away.
Yeah.
So they know what's going on. They're not stupid. They know that there's blood. They can smell fear. They're very sensitive individuals, which you would know because you've spent more time around them than I have, right?
And like,
So they are fully aware. There's a great new documentary that's come out called Dominion. It's based on animal agriculture in Australia. And the footage there is clearly showing them try to get out of the knockbox. They're trying to turn around and get out of that situation. I was at a slaughterhouse just a couple of days ago. The farmer was trying to get the cow off the little trailer. It was just one cow in a small trailer. And he was turning around. He did not want to go into the holding pens. They know. So activists going up to a truck to take some photos compared to putting them through the chute and the knockbox and slitting their throats.
but at the end of the day, like, they might, fair enough, I can understand that. Like, and people have a general consensus that cattle are dumb. Cattle are not dumb.
They're not dumb at all. They're very intelligent. All animals are.
It's one thing I will agree with you. Cattle are very smart. Like, I've seen them do some pretty insane and shit.
Yeah.
But like, and I know you're not going to agree with me saying this, but like, yeah, they probably can smell the blood, and they probably do get stressed out because it's a different smell. It's something, you know, they know something's up.
Yeah.
But at the end, like, they are going to get slaughtered.
Yeah.
So, you know, does it really matter?
Ooh, does it roll?
You know?
Well, the question is, why are we sending them off to slaughter if we don't need to?
Because people eat meat, I guess.
Okay, so why do people eat meat?
I don't know.
It's something we've always done. It tastes good. We've been told that it's normal and it's natural and it's necessary, right? I know, I ate meat for 30 years. I've been part of that culture. I grew up in Australia having barbecues every weekend. I understand that. But once we educate people with the truth about what goes on and help people make a connection with those sensitive, intelligent beings, we have a choice to make. We don't have to send them to slaughter. You don't have to do this anymore. I was one of those activists, as you said, that go up to the trucks and take footage of the cows about to go in. I see the fear in their eyes. They are literally shitting themselves. And the reason we record that footage is to show people the animals, to help them choose not to eat them, because the only reason they're in those trucks is because consumers are demanding for the product. That's why we do it.
I wish I had more facts. I don't.
What kind of facts do you want?
I don't know. I just wish I had more facts.
For what? To support what you're saying, or what?
Debate. This is good.
It is good. I'm glad we're talking about this. I know that a lot of farmers have switched to growing crops, plants. A lot of them have tried growing crops vertically. As I said, a lot of them have changed over to like creating an Airbnb where people can come and stay. There are more options. You don't have to do this line of work. And the future is plant-based. I mean, have you heard about how much the alternative food industry is worth? Okay, so we have people like Richard Branson, Leonardo DiCaprio, investors with a lot of money putting their money towards plant-based alternatives for meat and dairy. And that's because they're seeing that's the future. So Richard Branson, the other day, he said something like, by 2030, the meat and dairy plant industry will be worth, I think it was something like $40 billion. Now they're putting their money towards this industry because they see that's the future, that's where the demand is. So the smart thing to do is actually get involved in, vegan meat and vegan dairy, vegan products. That's where the trend of the demand is going. You know yourself that the dairy industry is dropping. That's going to probably be the first to go. Everyone's switching to plant milk and plant cheese.
I don't like plant milk though. I tried almond milk once.
Try different brands. There are lots of different ones. You've got oat, soy, cashew, coconut, rice. There are so many different types.
There's nothing better, I reckon, than fresh milk.
Do you know why cows produce milk in the first place?
Yeah.
For why?
Their babies.
For their babies. Okay. So why are you breastfeeding as a grown adult, as a man? Why are we drinking the breast milk for another species?
It tastes nice.
It tastes nice. All right, so we're doing it for taste. So if we could have something else that tastes nice.
Good for your bones.
It's not good for your bones, mate. Have you looked at the science?
I've never broken a bone.
Okay, look, those countries that have the highest consumption of dairy also have the highest levels of osteoporosis and bone disease. Okay, again, this is not my opinion, this is science telling us. Those cultures who traditionally have very low to no dairy consumption, like Asian cultures and African, they don't have dairy traditionally. They have the lowest amounts of osteoporosis and bone disease. So this is important to look at. Dairy milk is also very high in cholesterol and saturated fat. It's bad for our heart. It's linked to type 2 diabetes. IGF-1 growth factor in dairy switches on and off cancer cells. This is dangerous stuff. It's not designed for us. It's designed for a baby cow. It's something to think about. It really is. It's not good for us. It's hurting the animals. You know that they take the babies away and they kill the babies. Yeah. Why would we want to do that when we don't have to?
because we can. I don't know.
Because we can, but just because we can doesn't justify doing that kind of thing. We can do a lot of things. You know, men can rape women. We can drop bombs on people. Doesn't mean we should be doing those things, right?
Also, this is kind of dredging up the past a bit, I guess.
Yeah.
But like when they banned the live export industry in Australia in 2012, that was really bad for the industry.
It was bad for the industry in terms of money. It wasn't bad for the animals.
That's how a lot of people and a lot of primary producers got into strife and struggle when the drought sort of first hit, like that 3 years ago, because they were already overstocked and the cattle prices were really low.
Yeah.
And then into the drought, they couldn't feed their cattle, and that's why a lot of primary producers had to shoot their cattle.
Okay, so mate, I'm going to ask you a question here. Who's the victim in this scenario? Those who aren't making enough money, or those who are having their throats slit?
I'm not saying it's about the money. Like I don't.
Of course, it's about money. It's an industry. It's an industry that makes money. This is your job. This is your income. Farmers are suffering because their income is being affected by these changes.
But if I could do it.
But the victims are those having their throats slit. So we have to keep some perspective here. If things are getting tough, that's a good thing. That means things are changing, and the real victims, those innocent beings having their throats slit, may not have to be in this situation, especially in the future. For you guys, you have to change your line of business.
Well, yeah, but like, it's not all about the money for us.
What's it about? Why would you send someone to slaughter if it wasn't for profit? Why else would you do that?
Well, okay, so we got 30,000 acres and 40,000 acres. We run breeders on one and obviously our fat cattle on the other.
Yeah.
So if we didn't send our cattle to slaughter, where would they go?
How about you don't breed them into existence in the first place?
But then how are we going to breed cattle?
You don't. You change this. You change your line of business.
But I love running cattle. You know, it's what I love doing. You know, I like going out checking.
Yeah. Okay. So turn it into a sanctuary. That's what I'm saying. You can still be around animals, but just don't send them off to have their throats slit.
But then if we're still having them and still breeding them...
No, you're not breeding them anymore. We've got to stop breeding these animals into existence. This is insane. Do you know we slaughter 150 billion animals a year for food? Think about that. There's 7.5 billion people on the planet. 150 billion animals a year for food. That's an insane number. If you love them, surely you don't want to breed them into existence solely for the purpose of having their throats slit as young as 2 years old.
Yeah, okay.
You don't need to do this, do you?
No, I don't. I guess I don't need to, but...
Exactly. So would you consider choosing something else, a better option?
Like, it's my life.
It's not. It's someone else's life. That's the thing. It's someone else's life. You know they're intelligent, you know they feel, you know they know what's going on, and they suffer. And there's no need to do that. You can choose to do so many other things with your life. Do you know how many cattle farmers I've spoken to or heard from that have chosen a different direction and their heart feels so much better because they don't really want to send those animals to slaughter. It doesn't feel good at the end of the day, and they've made a conscious choice to do something kinder, something more compassionate, and they're more fulfilled. So there are other options for you. There are so many examples that you can take a look at. I can let you know what they are if you want to look them up, if you want to contact them. There's a lot there. I mean, don't you think it's interesting that you're from Queensland, I'm from Queensland, we're stopped here in, where are we? Edinburgh, having this chat. I mean, that's pretty incredible. It's not a coincidence.
I've sort of always wanted to do this, but I really never thought I'd get the opportunity, so I never prepared myself. Have this
discussion? Well, that's interesting. I mean, if you wanted to have this discussion, then there must have been something in your mind that you've been thinking about, maybe, you know, about this topic. So,
well, it is my livelihood, and like, you know, I doubt it if someone would like it if I went and started toying with their livelihood.
Yeah, the thing is, mate, your livelihood depends on the life of somebody else. That's the problem. Okay, put it this way. Look, It's all about evolution. So many industries have come and gone in human history. You know, once upon a time, remember we used to have cassettes?
Yeah.
Right, in the 80s, and we used to have cassettes. Now they had CDs. Now everything's downloaded. So things change. Once upon a time, we used to get around on horse and carriages. Then we have cars. Horse and carriages died out. You know, things evolve, things change, and we have to keep up with the times. The future is plant-based. Plenty of other things you can do with that great land of yours.
But if I would have changed doing what I'm doing, I wouldn't enjoy it. It's just purely...
Why? How do you know? But again, you don't enjoy sending those animals to slaughter. Forget it. You love the raising part. You love being out in nature with them. I get that.
Yeah, but like...
But your industry is based on slitting someone's throat.
Sending them to slaughter, that's just, you know, it's part of the gig. It's like...
But do you enjoy that part?
It doesn't faze me.
Because you're not the one having your throat slit. You're talking from the position of the perpetrator, not from the position of the victim. If you really care about those animals, you wouldn't send them to slaughter. You choose to do something else with your life. You can make money a million different ways. I've changed my job 20 times in the last 10 years. No problem. So many things you can do.
I don't know, I just... Like, don't say I don't care for my cattle, you know, 'cause...
Well, you have to own that. If you care for them, how are you sending them to slaughter to have their throats slit?
Because...
If you care for them, we can't care for someone and kill them at the same time if there's no need. They're not sick or injured, we're breeding them into existence, you're killing them for money. This is your business, this is how you earn a living. I get that. But we can't slit someone's throat and say we care about them at the same time. That's...
Anyway, I'm probably going to get rolling.
All right, mate. It's been really good to talk to you. Thank you for stopping by.
You too.
I appreciate this. Can I leave you with a card?
No, thanks.
You don't want a card?
But I don't think I'm going to.
Okay. Do you have a phone on you at least? Can I give you a resource for you to look up? Or just, you know what? Just leave it in your phone so that when the day comes, when you're thinking about this, maybe weeks or months later. First of all, cowspiracy for the environment so that you get a better understanding of what's going on, what you're contributing to, because that's the science, that's facts. You don't want to write that down? How about you just pop it in your pocket and you don't even have to look at it until whenever?
No offense, but...
You got Netflix?
I don't... Look, I'll try and remember the cowspiracy one,
Put it in your pocket. You spend all this time chatting to me.
I'm sorry, I'm a stubborn ass farmer. What do you expect?
Well, I expect that you've got a good heart because you wanted to have this chat, you were thinking about it. I expect you to at least follow through and do some research to know exactly what you're contributing to. And then you can't make an educated choice if you don't have the education. So at the moment you're going by one perspective only, your perspective, but you don't have the science or the facts behind you. So...
You know what I wish I had right now? My sister.
Your sister? Why?
She's a vet.
Oh, and let me guess, she eats animals?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so that's an interesting conversation in and of itself.
Yeah.
All right, well, good chatting to you, and I hope you make the right choice.
I doubt it. Well, maybe not the right choice for you guys, but...
There's only one right choice. It's the right choice for yourself, for the animals, for the planet, for other people, for everyone involved.
That's coming from your side.
No, it's coming...
Well, it's coming from...
Tell me one good reason why you're making the right choice by sending innocent animals to slaughter. One good reason.
People need to eat.
No, they need to eat. They don't need to eat meat. There are plenty of other things to eat.
Okay, they want to eat meat.
They want to is not a need. Want is, you know, I want money. It doesn't justify me going in and robbing a bank.
But if I want a new car,
Yeah,
I can go buy a new car if I want.
you can, yeah. We're talking about an object or a life. Just because we can do something to another being doesn't mean that we should. Doesn't mean that it's ethical and justified.
No, you're right. But like, humans are the dominant species.
Aren't we?
Well, look what we've created.
Just because
whether it's good or bad for the environment, whatever, but look what mankind has innovated and, like you said, changed over the years. Look what we've done.
Does that justify the confinement, torture, rape, mutilation and murder of innocent animals? If we're the dominant species, shouldn't we be evolved enough to choose the right option that's compassionate, kind, healthy, good for the planet that we live on instead of destroying our natural environment?
But like I said before, farmers nowadays are learning, like they're trying to learn, a lot of them, and some of them not. but a lot of them are trying to learn to improve their environment.
There's no right way to do the wrong thing. The wrong thing is sending the animals to slaughter. There's no right way to do that. There's no right way to waste so much resources on animals that we're breeding for profit. You know how much water you're using for those animals.
Well, we have bores, so we're lucky. We've got groundwater, we got bores.
Doesn't matter. You're just one example. You know, we have drought, we have water shortages for a reason. It's because of animal agriculture. That's the leading cause.
But then you've got crop agriculture,
Yeah.
which uses probably just as much water.
Nowhere near as much water, and the majority of crops that are grown on the planet are fed back to animals to fatten them up. So we're growing enough crops to feed 10 billion people right now. Only 7.5 billion people on the planet today. So if we all switch to a plant-based diet, we'd actually be growing less crops than we currently are, thus saving even more water. So again, you haven't given me one good reason why you're doing the right thing.
The wrong thing.
No, you said you're doing the right thing.
Right. Well, I know you've got science and all that behind you, but I also feel that also comes down to opinion. Like, this is just what I want. Like, this is.
Yeah. So you're thinking of it from your own perspective.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about the innocent animals, that it's their lives that you're taking. Again, you're coming from the perpetrator's position, not the victim's perspective. You're not thinking about the planet and everyone else that shares this planet with you. You don't live on your own planet, so your decisions affect everyone else. Okay? We all live on one planet Earth. Our land, our water, our air quality, all of that affects all of us. This is not an individual opinion or choice. What about healthcare? You know that animal products are linked to 14 of the 15 leading causes of our death. So our taxes are going to pay for the healthcare of people who are choosing to eat animal products and get sick and need surgery, etc. It's not an individual choice. This affects all of us. We're all in this together. A personal choice is what coloured jacket you decide to wear, how you want to style your hair. That only affects you. But you're affecting the life of other animals, human and non-humans.
But I could make a personal choice that could affect a lot of other people too.
Yeah, of course. But what you put in your mouth 3 times a day, this is a very direct impact on other people and, of course, the animals. I mean, you're paying, you're actually sending them to slaughter yourself, but as consumers, people are paying for someone to slit their throats. So that's not a personal choice by a long shot. That's probably the exact opposite of a personal choice. Yeah?
Okay. Oh, I'm gonna roll.
All right. Enjoy the rest of this great city. Thank you for the chat. You sure you don't want to take a card with you?
I'm sorry. I'm just going to be bad.
Well, you're choosing to be bad, and you don't have to say sorry to me. You have to say sorry to the innocent animals that you're going to continue to send to slaughter.
I'll let them
needlessly.
know. I'll let them know when I get there.
All right, mate.
No worries.
Take it easy. Bye.
So much evidence.